You're just stuck in this self-loathing state where you know that you're meant for more. You know greatness awaits you. You desire to help humanity. But until you break out of these vices, until you stop feeling like a victim, until you change your identity, you won't be able to serve humanity. You won't be able to have the money that you want, the meaning that you want, the marriage that you want, the health that you want, and that you deserve.
If you are given a death diagnosis, you are terminally ill, much of the stuff that we troll on with every single day would immediately sift to the edges of our attention as not important. And what can happen in the tyranny of the urgent is the most important stuff gets shuffled to the back. Being able to die well means that you lived a life that was worthy of your calling, so to speak. And in so doing, you're able to live well with kind of that end in mind. And so in my estimation, having faced death, many different times, it really allowed me to focus on what I wanted to do in life. And so it turns out that you'll die the exact same way that you live, whether that's poorly or well.
You're letting your life go by. And if you're letting your life go by, there's a massive amount of people who could be getting inspiration, motivation, service, support, a product, of whatever from you. But you're too busy sitting in your own shit, depressed, anxious, sad, overwhelmed, feeling like a victim, to put your best self out there. You can't live with that as your identity, why your life is gonna suck. I'm here to tell you this because you've got an entire life ahead of you, and if you have this chip on your shoulder, and if you feel like a victim, and if you never grow into the man that you're supposed to be, then that purpose that God or the Creator has bestowed upon you will go unseen by humanity.
He went through a difficult period many years ago. Even though he's beyond it now, he came very close to losing everything, financially, reputationally, psychologically. I asked him how he had dealt with the darkest time he'd faced. He told me that he'd had a concern in the back of his mind throughout his entire life. He was always worried that deep down, he might be a coward. That secretly he might not be the strong, capable person he thought he was, that when the rubber met the road, he wouldn't be able to stand up and face whatever the world threw at him. See, many of the challenges we face in life are largely under our control. We choose jobs we apply for, the house we try to afford, the partner we try to seduce, the weight we even lift. These things can still be hard, tough, challenging, sometimes unbearably difficult, but it was us who chose the flavor of that difficulty. So what happens when absolutely everything comes crashing down? The single worst possible scenario that you can imagine happens. Well, you get to see what you're made of, what you're genuinely made of, when all of your forces are marshaled to a single challenge. And he said that he'd had faith in himself, but he'd never been pushed hard enough to prove that his faith was justified. And this is a quote from him. He said, "I could always hear my best self clearing his throat in the room next door. But when he never knew if this self was able to come in when it was needed, it turns out that he did."
Use that anger, use that rage to become the best version of yourself, to become a man with so much honor, so much value, so many skills and traits that you can start serving other men, other young men who are currently in your position.
Folks think of like, man, my 9-to-5 sucks, and if I can just get through all the chores and the tasks, and I fix up the house and I pay that off and I work, and ultimately one day I'll have a nest egg big enough, and then when I'm 65 years old, I'm going to really start living. That's when it'll get really good. And what you don't realize is that is overrated once you even get there. You look back of like, no, let's start living well right now. All there is today. You're not promised tomorrow. And so I don't want to delay living and having a meaningful impact on the world around me for hoping that one day I can start living right.